Thomas, coming to the end of our tour here in Portugal, give us your thoughts on how it's been and how you found it out here.
It's been top. Now I've been privileged to be involved in a few pre-season tours in the last 7 years, so it must be my 7th or something like that. I think it's up there among the best. Probably the one last year because of all the culture and all the other stuff around it. Because I think that's a big part of it as well. But of course, the main thing and the most important thing is that we train well, and the lads have a top training pitch, gym facilities, recovery, and all that. And in that sense, then this is the best for all the years. This is a fantastic training facilities here. We are using them as a Portuguese Federation's training ground, just top every area. Close connected with the day rooms when we're out here for a whole day, with the lunch. So this has been superb in many ways, I would say.
Yeah, you mentioned the facilities there, like fantastic pitches and all the other things that you mentioned. How much have you enjoyed getting time on the grass with the team, just non-stop, and being out there trying to get your ideas across next season?
I think it's fantastic. I love that. I think we also have a little bit the same time at home, but it's just like a different location, and you just have a bit more time, and then either you have a double session or just do it even longer. And I like that. I think that's good. But I think a big part of getting out here is also like you have the whole day to more meetings or exploring things or the team building and all that. So, but all in all, very good.
Being out here in Portugal, obviously staying together, the lads essentially get sort of 24 hours together, socialising in the evenings as well. How important is that to continue sort of the strong culture we've got within this squad?
It's good. It's like with everything, you need to keep building, keep making sure it's there. Or it's like in any relationship, you can't just stop talking or stop doing things together, because then it will drop a little bit over time. So the culture and the togetherness the players have, and I would say the staff and the players are very good, and we try to keep keeping it at a very high level.
The players and staff had a little day off earlier last week and did some activities and went out for some food in the evenings. Talk me through that and how much you enjoyed that day off.
I think it's a good thing when you are together for. It's not a long period, but it's still like 24/7. So it's good to do things on your own. And in the past, I've used to either do something where everyone does something together, which also is a lot of value in that. But I also like that we are individuals, so people could do what they wanted to do. So some did golf, some did go-karting, some did surfing, some did some tour in Lisbon. So and some did some a little bit different. So I think that's important. And then I think we went out in groups. I know we went out in groups, so the players was divided into 4 or 5 groups with 2 staff members in each, and that just get them talking in a different way and try a little bit more food than different food that they normally are used to. So try to educate them a bit. Some of them are very good at it.
What activity did you select?
I selected the surfing. It was good fun, difficult. I think I managed to get up to be on the board like 3 times 3 seconds, which was quite good. So I think I need to try that again another time, but it was good fun.
You mentioned the sea there. You've been in there and out plenty of times, but the whole squad did a Sunday swim. How important to a pre-season, or this pre-season, was that, and why did you want to select that as something for the squad to do?
Yeah, I think, in the past we've done way more crazier things. But a lot of the players thought it was quite good. Some of the players and the staff were thinking just by getting them up 7 o'clock and go to the sea was a challenge. It's a good reminder that we're all different. But also on another thing, it's just creating another memory, and I think it's good to do different things. And yeah.
It's a little bit overcast this morning, but all in all, the weather's been absolutely gorgeous this week. And going over to these countries and having that nice weather, the players enjoy the sun and the time off, but maybe it makes training a little bit harder. How important is the weather, and how does that affect things over here?
I think there's a couple of things to it. Now in the UK, the weather can be a little bit unstable. Let's put it that way. So there can be days in July where it's still pretty cold. So here down we have more time, no problem. We can stand, we can train hard for 10 minutes. Okay, break, talk about things, or all that. I think is very good. And I think the heat has not been too bad because the humidity is quite good. And then I think the change of scenery, and we live very privileged in a hotel close to the sea, and personally I like that, so we can go every morning for a morning swim.
Obviously we had the game against Benfica the other night. We spoke at the time about how much of a fantastic experience that was for everyone, but looking back at it, it shows how far this club has come. We were in the Championship, and now we're playing against a team like Benfica in the Champions League. Pretty much sold out that stadium. How do you feel reflecting on that game?
I think it was a great experience for everyone. It was a top game in terms of a good friendly and a top test. So I think that's take the most important box. But then on top of that, we are playing in a fantastic stadium. As I said the other day after the game, that this is a massive club, and but you don't know until you're there and you see the stadium. You understand how many fans there are, the history of it. They played Champions League regularly, so that was a top test first and foremost, but also a very good experience.
We spoke about some of the younger players after the game as well. How much of a good experience has this tour been for them, for the B team players particularly that have come over? And I guess it gives them the taste of what could be to come, and maybe the players that hadn't come, they can see what the guys that have come are doing, and give them that extra incentive as well.
There's a couple of things, of course. The main aim is always to produce more B team players that can go through that tiny hole and get into the first team squad, and hopefully play minutes, and hopefully become a regular starter. That's the main aim, and there's definitely a few that are aiming towards that. And then the next one also to give them the experience of, okay, this is like proper first team football pre-season tour or camp. What are the demands? What do they need to learn? What can they take from it so they can develop? So that's the other side of it.
The fans that travelled over here for the game, we also had the fan event the other night. How good is it to see them come over here, and how committed they are? Because it's a long way. They obviously get to enjoy the sun and the football as well, but it does show how committed they are, and how much does that mean to you and the players and the other staff as well?
I think it's fantastic. They are definitely committed. I think actually they're even more committed if they're going to the north of UK. In the winter time. Let me put it this way: if I was a fan, and I would rather want to go to Lisbon than north of England, with all due respect, of course, for that, just because of the sun, the weather, and all that, and then the experience. But of course, it takes something, finances and time and all that. I always respect that massively. So we are so pleased that for every one of them that travelled to the game, and the few that came to the fan event, quite few came to the fan event as well.
We obviously played AFC Wimbledon before we came out here, and we've got Watford on Saturday. How do those games differ against maybe a Benfica and Wolfsburg, who we've got at the GTEC in a few weeks? Does the difference in playing styles help us to be better prepared heading into the new campaign?
I think it's good to have different playing styles. Even in the Premier League, of course, it's not like every team is playing the same way. So I think it's good to adjust, and the football are evolving and changing. So we need to be able to adapt and play against any playing style.
Touched on Wolfsburg there, back at the GTEC Community Stadium in a couple of Fridays' time. That'll be the final game before the Premier League season starts. How close to a top performance do you want to see from that game?
From the Wolfsburg?
Wolfsburg.
At that stage, I hope it will look really good and sharp. That's always the aim. The most important thing is that of course can put a top performance out there, but also the training weeks that looks good. And if it looks good against Wolfsburg, it would be beautiful, fantastic. But for me, it's also either they are 100% fit, do we see good signs and hopefully as many minutes as possible where we are performing well, and of course getting every player through.
Heading into the fourth season of the Premier League, you've obviously been here 7 seasons, you said. A lot of players are still here from that first season, leading up to that Arsenal game. How do you keep things fresh and keep those players motivated to go again for the new Premier League season?
Everyone should be very motivated to go into the Premier League season because you can take nothing for granted and really look forward to it. Then that said, like with everything, even that is the best league in the world, when you've done it a few times, you know, it's, how can you say, you get more used to the experiences, which is good in a way. So you can hopefully trust yourself that, okay, we're good and we can be asset to the Premier League. But I still think it's important to freshen it up just a tiny bit. And then, you know, that can be players, that can be the drills we're changing, that can be meetings. So we try to freshen up a little bit.
What's the ambition and what do you see as success for next season?
The ambition is that we said that many times before, that we want to be asset to the Premier League. We always want to improve. We always want to add layers. In terms of results and aims, I always say win the next game and end as high as possible. And the reason I'm saying that is because we can achieve everything in this club. But it can also, how can you say, go the other way, because the distance between teams is like this. And we saw last year with, let's say, 3 areas, you know, lot of injuries. Touch wood, hopefully not as many this year. I think there was a lot of margins maybe probably not going our way, and there was definitely something we could have done better ourselves. So those 3 things, if they're not checked, then it can be difficult in the best league in the world. So we can finish between whatever, the top 6 and all the way down to under the relegation. So that's the respect you need to have for the league. But we want to improve. We want to do better than last season. We want to add layers. We want to be an asset to the Premier League, as we said. But most important focus, try to win the next game.
And I guess to do those things, there'll be some non-negotiables that you want to see from the squad. Can you outline what some of those are that you want to see from your squad week in, week out?
I think which is the foundation we are standing on. It's so basic, but basic is beautiful in so many ways, and it's definitely hard work. It's definitely the mentality, determination, and definitely the ability to want to constantly develop.
Finally, you mentioned it being the best league in the world, the Premier League. How excited are you for it to begin again and to start that week in, week out churn of the division?
No, it's going to be great. Really looking forward to it. But we, honestly, you're 2.5 weeks away from it. So it's not like I'm saying, I want it to start tomorrow. No, because I just know there's much more to come. So if you ask me that question 3 days before the first game, then I would be even more excited. But now I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. But now I'm actually more focused on getting a good session. You stop asking questions to me, and then we can prepare for the Australia game tomorrow.
I'll let you do that.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Cheers, Thomas.
Thank you.